Hello and thank you for joining the midweek edition of Journalist Hangout. I'm Ayodele Ozubakun. Today on the Hangout, former Senate Majority Leader Ali NDUME protests against his removal. Herdsmen, farmers clash in Niger State, claims 4 lives. Later in the program, Nigeria flags off scheme to revive 10,000 primary health care centers. Babajide Kolade Otitoju, Yomi Olomofe and ADEKUNLE YUSUF are just lined up for this episode. So if you are ready, let the Hangout start now. Today's session in the Nigerian Upper Legislative House went rowdy as the former Senate Majority Leader Ali NDUME protested his removal by APC caucus in the Red Chamber. NDUME decried the way in which he was removed as the leader, saying it could be anybody next. The Borno State Senator said his removal was based on his insistence that the Senate did not follow due process in rejecting the nomination of acting EFCC chairman Ibrahim Magu. He said the APC caucus didn't follow due process in removing him from the leadership of the Senate. In a related development, Senator Kabiru Marafa, APC Zamfara, while also relying on a point of order, said NDUME's removal followed due process. It's like a follow-up. Babajide is like a follow-up to what we have yesterday. Yesterday, the information we had, it was some hours, after his removal. So the information we see, NDUME wasn't able to talk. So, but we were able to spot it on that. Look, it will have to do with this Ibrahim Magu's removal. Yeah. And true to what we predicted and what we said, he's coming. Ali NDUME is coming now, and he's saying, yes, the removal of Magu or the confirmation of Magu or non-confirmation of Magu did not follow due process.
Yeah, that's the point that he has made all along. Because if for any reason you think that someone is inappropriate for a position, let him be screened. Let the world see clearly why you are opposed to him. And in this case, according to...
In the plenary?
Yes. Let him be screened. They screened Fashola and other ministers publicly now.
During plenary and the void votes.
They were not locked up in a room to be screened.
Yeah.
They screened them publicly. Why should his own be an exception? And we saw even for some of the people that the president nominated for agencies and all that, NCC and the rest, we saw the screening. Journalists were there.
So that you take a vow?
And in this case, he was saying there were 2 different memos, security reports. You chose to act on one while refusing to act on the other because the other one cleared him. So that's the point that
he was being making. Persecuted for righteousness' sake in this matter now?
He was coming from the, he went to see the president. It was outside, it was after met the president that he was interviewed. And he said, see, that it is not over yet. That he has not been finally, that Magu has not been finally rejected. That was what got his colleagues angry. That look, he shouldn't have said that, he talks too much, this and that. But you've always known him. You've always known him that he talks. But you chose him. And this is a man who volunteered to quit that job on at least 2 occasions. You prevailed on him to remain. Only to cowardly remove him when he went to pray. Everyone knows that once it's 1 o'clock, NDUME will go and say his prayers.
Any good Muslim.
They chose that time to remove him. The evil people in Nigeria are largely cowardly. There are many people who would, by your presence, the fact that they can't look you straight in the face.
To speak the truth.
To speak the truth, they would rather wait until you are not there to act. When did they remove the coup against Buhari was executed when Tunde Diagmo was in Mecca with his son. on pilgrimage. The same people now, Marafa and the rest of them who are saying, look, we follow due process, they will claim to be good Muslims. But you chose to move against a man at a time when he went to pray to his God. That is the most immoral part of it. He should have been there. And you should have told him what he did wrong.
To his face.
And let him defend himself. Let him offer some form of defense. Now I heard that Marafa said that it may be the turn of the Deputy Senate President if he does not join the APC.
It sounds like tyranny of the majority.
For most people, for most APC guys, Ekweremadu does not even deserve to be Deputy Senate President because it's like the ruling party sitting in the minority.
Exactly.
You know, it shouldn't be in that mix. But to begin to threaten a man publicly that if he does not defect, then he will be shown the door, I don't think it makes any sense.
So Kabiru Marafa now effectively
we have a new mainstream. We have a new Kabiru Marafa. You see, now you see clearly the way Nigerian politicians are. We talk about politicians all the time. You can see clearly now that it's just interest. Interest. The moment...
So all the noise he has been making in the floor
constituting a nuisance to Saraki. The moment Saraki found him a very
everybody has got
lucrative committee to chair, he buttoned up his lips. That's the average Nigerian politician for you. The politics in Nigeria is an extremely cold affair.
Godless affair.
Cold, godless, extremely wicked. That's the way it is. People will be ready to stab you in the back, even if you build houses in the sky for them. It won't stop them from stabbing you in the back.
You know what I mean? I expected even a person like Kabiru Marafa, because he was, I think, the head of the most vocal of the unity group at that time. Even Ahmed Lawal, that took the majority leader today, you know, they were the vanguard of no to Saraki, the anti-Saraki lawmakers. Immediately, they looked for lucrative committees and juicy committees for them. Everybody kept quiet.
Of course, what would you have expected? We are in a society where it is just about the person. It's just about what is in it for them as individuals, not what is in it for the people.
Or for the party.
Or for the party.
I thought they were fighting for the party.
So whatever it is that is playing out now, it should not shock any Nigerian that, you know, follows the trend in our country. NDUME, all of the while, has striven to come across as his own man. Whatever issues is on the border, he will ventilate his views. And he does that consistently. He has repeatedly demonstrated that trait.
Consistency.
You understand it?
That's why they say he talks too much.
Exactly. And now, you will understand that what is going on is some kind of dog-eat-dog kind of thing. So, if it appears that your profile is on the rise, there are people, there are hatchet men, lurking in the corner in our political landscape to just cut you down when you least expect. You know. So, like Jide said, most of our acts in this land, especially the more negative ones, are perpetrated by cowards, people who do not have the fear of God. Otherwise, why will they not wait that 10 minutes for this fellow to come back from prayers and then put it to him all of the reasons they think they have to want to, you know, ask him to either step aside or to remove him, as the case may be. So for me, it's a senate of jackals, if you ask me, my personal view. And what do jackals do? They go for each other's jugular. I think it's a lesson for NDUME. Let him take solace in the fact that he's at least still a senator. And he didn't go to Senate primarily to become a principal officer. Exactly. To be the deputy or whatever he is. And so let him revert back to the statutory senatorial obligations he has to his people and to Nigerians, which is basically about enactment of viable, proactive laws that will stand the Nigerian people in good stead.
ADEKUNLE YUSUF, the coming of Ahmed Lawal now as a majority leader, effectively, Bukola Saraki has cemented all the opposition, and he has kept them quiet in the House, and effectively is in charge of that Senate.
You see, when you look at NDUME as courageous and vocal as it's always been, the day he took on the Senate, institution, I said it's like it's not reading the handwriting
On the wall.
on the wall. He must have miscalculated one way or the other. On Magu's case, Magu's case is just like a camouflage for some of the infightings. You see, Saraki wants his party. He's been doing everything to worm his way, into the hearts of his party. So anybody that he can sacrifice, he will be the happiest person to do. He will be very glad to do it. So the day NDUME was speaking against the Senate and another, man was, hey, I'm the Senate spokesman. You know that there's a lot of things that they are not letting Nigerians do. So on Magu, whatever anybody has to say is NDUME that is right, not the Bukola Sarakis and his, cronies in the Senate.
What do you mean by that?
What I mean by that was that Magu has not been legally rejected by the Senate. There is no law that says you should go to the bedroom or wherever.
Executive session.
You must come to the plenary and do it. It's not a must. You confirm him.
Votes.
You can reject him.
But it's even
by law, Magu's confirmation process has not been concluded, and they know it. But since they have an ulterior motive, they will always.
But the Senate, the people that saddle with the responsibility, they are saying that, look, it was rejected.
The fact that
outside.
we are in this country together. You can tell me what happens in your bedroom. What I may choose to believe what I see. What Nigerians know when you do it. This is not the first time. You watch TV in America. What are they doing today?
All right.
You understand? They are confirming certain nominees here and there, and it's done in the public.
Yes.
There's no secrecy about it.
All right. Let's quickly take this break. When we come back, we'll discuss more. It's still Journalist Hangout, reaching you live from Television Continental here in Lagos. We'll be right back after this time out. Welcome back. Adekunle Yusuf, you were talking about the implication of this move.
Yeah. You see, you will see that Saraki is very, 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 very desperate to return to his party. He hasn't left his party, but he's not in his party. The day he crossed over into the Senate leadership without the support of his party.
So he's trying to warm his way
you will
back
see that
to the
all the people that ganged up against him, he started settling them one by one. And most of them that we thought are people of substance, we've realized that they are just like the usual ordinary politicians, very unpatriotic, very opportunistic.
Looking at the reason Kabiru Marafa was game for the removal of
Kabiru Marafa that will carry a chair and be fighting everybody. That will be. I'm ashamed.
Kabiru Marafa at one point looked like the tiger of the Nigerian Senate, but right now he has become the lamb. He has become the lamb of the Nigerian Senate.
All right, earlier, Senator Ali Dume today protested his removal as a majority leader in the Senate.
Because of the unity of this Senate that is more important than myself, 3 times I offered to resign if that will bring peace. But I believe God's time is the best. You are one of those that even warned me here to stop saying that I will resign. I want to say that this Senate is an institution that we must protect. How do you protect the institution? Is you obey the rules and the tradition. If today, just like that, without telling somebody, and he goes out, if it is NDUME today and it's okay, it may be, God forbid, Okoromadu tomorrow. Okay, so what I'm saying is, distinguished colleagues, any time our colleagues erred in one way or the other, we should be given the chance to say, look, this is what you did, and therefore we have lost confidence in you. But I thank God since there is nothing, and I'm grateful for that. So I want to once again say thank you very much for the opportunity given to me to serve as the Senate leader.
NDUME, the vintage NDUME taking his removal, you know, with like the sportman, the spirit of, you know,
he has lost nothing. To me, look at the way he presented his speech. Look at what he said. Even those who hatched the plot, how are they looking at him? Yeah. They know they didn't do the right thing.
Yes, he's not protesting his removal.
No.
He's saying the process of his removal.
Most of what
that he has offered to leave that office
must
3 times.
Protect the Senate.
And most of what he said today will come to pass. You will see.
And you will see also, Ayo, that what is trying to happen here is that this blatant disregard for things to be done procedurally. It seems to be the order of the day in this Senate we have in our land now.
No, it's the executive that they always accuse of
impunity.
But we can see now that
they are professors of impunity themselves.
People who are so talented at impunity.
They are proficient in impunity.
So ultimately, will this Senate be able? Will this right now? Are they now ready? Because it's like the Senate is one now. Are they not ready, that arm of government, to work with the executive to move Nigeria forward in 2017, Jide?
It's difficult for me to believe that they really want to work with the executive. I think that they are more concerned with drawing attention to themselves, showing that they are important. Their major project now is reducing the powers of the executive. That's their major project, and you see it. Out of 3 moves, you see that demonstrated in 2 moves. So that is their major project. They are not after the public good. All they want to do is focus on that which invariably makes them richer, stronger politically. That will keep the president perpetually at their mercy.
Subjugated.
That is what they are after.
So there's no advantage that we have a house populated by APC, with a slim majority, so to say. The president might not enjoy that advantage.
No. From the beginning, the president lost the opportunity. And that's why I say, see, when people blame David Mark and Goodluck Jonathan, David Mark was working for his party. He frustrated all moves to make life difficult for Jonathan.
Yes.
Was a stabilizing factor.
Yes. Leveraging on his experience and everything. You know, he's been in that chamber for so long, so he knows how to calm them down. He's aware of all the banana
in
peels.
That chamber, he's very quiet.
How you can actually bring people down using the famous banana peel. He's familiar with all those tricks. He's been a survivalist. So he's also schooled in the art of helping other people to survive. So whenever they felt like moving against Jonathan, he will come in. He will bring that calming influence. He will bring it to play. And Jonathan benefited extremely.
Immensely from a stable.
But it's the exact opposite that we have now. Because the person who is Senate president doesn't think that he owes Buhari any obligation to protect him or to make him stronger in his position. His own desire and the desire of the people around him is to make Buhari weaker. And I've said it repeatedly that some of the most virulent critics of this administration, the people who enjoy embarrassing this government at every turn, are in that Senate. Sometimes even stories that are not true, they bring such stories up. Nigerians will be talking about it. When it's subjected to scrutiny, you see that it's just something that didn't really happen.
Like the TSA.
They want to embarrass the government, you know. So you ask yourself, are these really members of the same party? But that is the price that you pay when you throw your gates open to all comers. I've sat here on this table with some people who felt, no, they cannot, that you cannot stop people from joining your party. You cannot, and I asked the question, are those people really in Nigeria? How can you tell me that a party cannot stop indecent people from coming to join it?
Of that party.
I will tell you that PDP stopped Ojus Okalu. They stopped him in Abia from coming back to PDP.
Yes. Let me quickly.
Ochendo did it. He made sure from the local level, from the world level, he made sure that he was not registered. No return. So you come and tell me that we can't stop people from coming.
Let me quickly pick this call. Thank you for joining us. Hello. Hello.
Hello?
Yes, good evening. Thank you for joining us.
Yes, sir.
Aminu, go ahead with your
Yes,
contribution.
All right. Frankly speaking, first of all, I want to thank you for this opportunity that you are giving Nigerians to understand what is happening in Binas. Well, I want to call the attention of Binas presently with what just happened. It's obvious that we are heading in the wrong direction. Because if he, the Senate leader, will not be allowed to defend himself, or the Senate should accuse him of so things before removing him as the Senate leader, but he'll be removed in his absence, I'm really disappointed with the Senate. And also, Bukola Saraki needs to be very, very careful. This is politics. The other time, the president said he's an influential politician. But to me, from what is happening in Senate, he's just an influential political criminal. I'm scared where this country is heading to.
Okay, Aminu, thank you. That's not too.
That's not too good.
Too good. Too good, because he has not been convicted by any court. All right, Yomi.
I'm waiting for that.
That's his opinion. That's his opinion.
Probably waiting.
Well, you will see that
There are all the tests around.
even where we choose to moderate our words, happenings in Nigeria, especially in these hallowed chambers, happenings there really tends to give one cause to become a bit indecorous.
Let me quickly play when the going was so good in the Senate, when Ali NDUME was the Senate majority leader.
Take care of women, not only by befriending them, for example. No, you should go for that to marry them, because I want to tell this. I want to tell this Hello Chama and distinguished colleagues that I am of both religions. That is to say, my mother is a Christian, half of my family are Christian, and half of my family are Muslim. I know that there is nowhere in the Bible that prohibits marrying more than one wife.
Vintage Ali NDUME.
He didn't wait. He actually, before he closed that speech, he challenged Senate President Bukola Saraki to get himself a second wife. We didn't get to hear that portion.
Again,
he decided to force Bukola
to become a proper
polygamist.
Okay. Well, you see, Ayo, like I was saying, that the happenings on the floor of the red chambers really gives cause for worry. They have now set aside their primary responsibilities and duties on the floor of the House to chase after one juicy slot, one juicy chairmanship role or the other. And so therefore, I will not say that NDUME is wrong in the defense he has put up. I will only say that these folks who have mastered the art of stabbing you at the back should, like he said, like NDUME said, watch it. It may be their turn faster and sooner than we expect.
All right, when journalist Hangout returns, 4 killed as herdsmen and farmers clash in Niger. Details after this break. Stay with us. Welcome back. In recent times, Nigeria has lost more people to herdsmen attack than bomb blasts or Boko Haram attacks. Nigeria is now confronted by a new monster that is fast consuming it. Disappointingly, the government seems indifferent about these killings. Today, Niger State is counting its loss. In just a week, more than 5 persons have been killed, including a high school student in 2 local government areas because herdsmen wanted to feed the cattle and farmers wanted to protect their crops. Such a simple exercise ends in a horror story. Will it take the Nigerian government eternity to end these clashes? ADEKUNLE YUSUF, the chief of army staff, said he was sending some of his men to is it Argentina to go and learn how to set up ranches and everything. What's the lasting solution to this? I want to feed my cows and then people I want to protect my crop, and people must die in the quest of trying to.
Your cow must feed on people's crops.
You see,
and they must feed on something.
You know, we always trivialize everything in Nigeria until
gets out of hand.
Holding us by the jugular. Remember the Boko Haram thing? It started like a joke. Today you are practically looking everywhere to borrow money to even finish some of the problems. See, this thing is not a new thing. Every part of Nigeria you see herdsmen.
So okay, look at this person now. Look, the visual we're seeing.
Why all of a sudden?
This is a typical.
There is violence, there is killing, there is everything. And we have security agents in this country. What are they doing? By now, we should know. These are not cattle herdsmen. They must have been camouflaging.
I'm telling you,
I believe these are pure criminals who just want to hide certain identity. So they know the best way to do it is just. By now, we should know. Maybe they have a link with Boko Haram, or maybe it's the new face of Boko Haram. Maybe it's something else. We should know. Everywhere from Kano, from Borno, Kano, Adamawa, Niger, Delta, everywhere. You keep people, there is no week we don't have it. And you see a lot of studies, they've been saying it. Apart from the people that died, the bloodshed, it's affecting agricultural, production in Nigeria. So the problems of food security will eventually come, because most of these people that you destroy their farms, that you kill, are farmers. So I don't know the problem with the government of the day. They are not doing enough. The President Muhammadu Buhari should just step in. I don't know why we haven't seen holistic approach towards solving this problem. It's not about cattle ranching. It's not about cattle. It's not.
It's not about herdsmanship.
For ages, we've been having this in our country, and Fulani, herdsmen are everywhere in those days. There are no crime. They are very lovely, law-abiding people. So today, when we started and the media started saying Fulani, these are not. Don't let's label these people. These are criminals. Whether they are Yoruba herdsmen, Igbo herdsmen, Fulani herdsmen. So the problem we have in Nigeria,
except it's only Fulani people that rear cattle in Nigeria.
Well, Ayo, for me, I say that perhaps because of our penchant in our land, not to prosecute any matter to a logical conclusion, to serve deterrence.
It is doing it.
And this is why I must say that, Ayo, this governor, I've had cause to...
story behind that.
Even I have personally had cause to commend the steps of Ayodele Fayose, especially on this cattle grazing thing. You understand it? If you don't put your foot down, because I need to graze my cows, must I jeopardize your farm? Now, if I must jeopardize your farm, must you then fold your arms and allow me in the guise that I'm grazing my cows? You continue to joke. And then where do I get all of these sophisticated equipments from as a herdsman? So for me, there are things to determine by our people, the law enforcement people. These cattle herdsmen, are they the owners of the cattle? If they are not the owners of the cattle, isn't it about time we begin to hold the owners of these cattle responsible for the actions of the people under their employ?
Are they even Nigerians?
Are they Nigerians? If they are not Nigerians, where are they from? So
there
are salient questions. You know, the other
ammunitions?
time on this program we said, you know, when the governor of Kaduna State, when there were issues about how he went and spoke with people and all of that, I said, what are our immigration officials doing at our border posts? They allow free movement of these people into the country. They allow free movement of them out of the country. And so between maybe the immigrations in this instance and the Nigeria police, it is time to begin to hold some of these cattle herdsmen, prosecute them, jail them, and then also hold the owners of their cattle to account for the actions of the people in their employ. I think when we begin to look at it this way, and then of course we must understand that how do I come to your house and say that whether you like it's an army of occupation, whether you like it or not, I must lay siege in your house, I must lay siege in your bedroom, I must deprive you access to that which is your own means of sustenance, because I am doing my means of it. It's a warped, twisted kind of thing that our law enforcement is allowing to fester, and this for me gives a lot of cause for worry.
Jide, a lot of cause for worry. We are talking about a staggering figure in Benue State, 1,268. If that can happen in Benue State, just one state, that will amount to genocide.
You see, we are notorious for not keeping records in Nigeria. It's a big problem. I'm telling you that if you tally the figures of the dead at the hands of this Fulani militia, I don't call them headsmen. Headsmen don't carry AK-47.
I think I
prefer to call them Fulani militia.
Militia.
Because I saw these
Because
ones I'm
that's
saying,
the way
they're so harmless.
Look
These
at-
cattle areas.
You will, as we go on, you will see why I've chosen to call them militia. And if I see it in the story, the headsmen, I throw away the headsmen and put militia. Because we know growing up, we interacted with headsmen. They don't carry AK-47. Now, these guys have been running riot in Taraba, in Adamawa, and everywhere. There's no part of Nigeria that is safe in the hands of these people. Niger State has suddenly caught their fancy. But before now, they had been attacking communities in Benue, in Kaduna, even the whole of the South, generally, especially Delta, Anambra. Women are taken to the streets to say, look, these people are killing our husbands. Now, remember that last week, this militia, Fulani militia, attacked Demsa local government in Adamawa State and killed 3 mobile policemen and abducted 2 others. And that attack took place after the governor paid compensation of 4.7 million to cattle rearers who claimed that they lost 47 cattle. So you took the money and you still went on the killing spree. It is similar to what happened in Kaduna, where the governor wanted the killings to stop, he wanted to calm these people down, decided to pay compensation. And that compensation did not stop them from further arming themselves and now
Going back
to kill people. So the government has an obligation to protect the Nigerian people. I can tell you, see, one of the reasons Goodluck Jonathan didn't win the election was the fact that he couldn't protect the Nigerian people. And everybody pointed to Boko Haram, that he could not contain Boko Haram.
Got to Abuja.
The way Fulani headsmen are killing people, if the president does not move quickly, it's going to be a campaign issue against him in 2019. Because these guys are being allowed to recklessly spread their reign of terror across
Without compulsion.
different parts of Nigeria. South, North Central, everywhere they are killing people. So, and where you have lost people,
Southwest, Ondo State,
where you have lost people to this kind of men, and you've lost your property, buildings and all, people will not be happy with the government, and it will become an issue for which they will campaign against that government. So it is in the best interest and in the worst disinterest of the administration of Muhammadu Buhari to do something quickly to rein in these criminals who are parading themselves as headsmen. They are not headsmen. These ones are worse than armed robbers.
They are killers.
Delicious. I have Peter from Taraba State. Thank you for joining us, Peter.
Hello, thank you.
Yes, good evening.
Yeah, about the issue of first killing. I don't like when, like, I hear people are talking here, they are foreigners. Okay, when it's time to face compensation, you see people to face compensation. But it's when it's time to kite them, they will be foreigners.
They become
so
foreigners.
The people have been killing, and these foreigners come, where do they come? At the killing. Where do they come? Let's catch one of the foreigners and prosecute. Show us, yes, they are foreigners, but they can't catch even one. But this time they said foreigners come to kill. I don't believe they are foreigners because just like you are discussing now, in Dadamawa they pay some compensation. Unlike the governor of Kaduna State compensation, who said they are foreigners? I don't believe it. Even though they are foreigners, let them catch them. Just here in Taraba State, in southern Taraba, where they call Ukari, just like the people stood their ground, they attacked them in many times, many ways, in the night, in the morning, the people stood their ground, fight it. They should let their community be destroyed, but they will not allow the people let them. In one village some days ago, the people, they are rice farmers. So they scattered this village. The most people that we are coming with, as just see some cattle running with just like us. The driver said that these people must have committed something somewhere. This is the way they are running.
Thank you, Peter. Thank you, Peter, for your contribution. So, let me just...
It's very, very difficult for anybody to believe that they are foreigners.
Okay. Let me quickly go on this break, and when we come back, we'll talk more.
Okay.
Moving on, the federal government has kicked off a scheme to revitalize more than 10,000 healthcare centers across Nigeria. It says the scheme will ensure that quality basic health care services are delivered to a majority of Nigerians, irrespective of their location in the country. This is a good scheme, but how realistic? 10,000 across the country. I think because accessibility of primary health care centers is very, very important. If this is not going to be on paper, 10,000 will go a long way in solving the problem of people going to traditional native doctors and everything because they can't afford and the healthcare is not accessible. Jide?
I want to commend the government of Muhammadu Buhari for this initiative. They've been talking about this for some time, and I'm happy that they've actually demonstrated a determination to follow it through. You see, we must do our best for people, especially people in the rural areas. They have no access to healthcare.
Yes.
Even for a lot of them, the roads that leads to the nearest health center, those roads are usually very bad, and in cases of emergency, before people
you have to travel far
before they even get to the nearest health center, a life has been lost. So the government needs to do something. When it comes to under 5 deaths, Nigeria is rated second in the world, behind India.
Infant mortality.
That's 2,300 under 5 deaths daily.
2,300?
Yes, every day. It's a staggering figure. And that's not all. Women die a lot of women die during childbirth. We are ranked #1 in the world in that area.
Infant mortality.
Yes. In the southwest of Nigeria, out of every 100,000 live births, 169 women die. In the northwest, out of every 100,000 live births, 1,549 women die. That should tell you that we are in a situation that I can describe as a health emergency. There is every need to even go beyond this 10,000. Maybe in the next budget, they should be targeting maybe 30,000 or more, so that healthcare will be accessible to everyone.
Even though if they achieve this 10,000.
Yes, it's a good starting point. You see, people will see clearly when you bring hospitals to people's doorsteps.
Yes.
There's no way they will forget that administration.
Yes.
They will remember that, oh, it was during Buhari's time that they brought this to us.
Facility.
That is what we want to see our governments do. You can see what Ambode is doing in the health sector. Even buying
helicopter, you know, for emergency.
For emergency. So that response time can be reduced to the barest minimum. That is the way to go. That is the way to go. A lot of the money that gets spent on imaginary boreholes and all that are never sunk, that gets stolen at the end of the day. Such monies can be set aside to provide quality health care for our people. And we just have to start from somewhere. That's why I commend the administration because this is a very good starting point.
It's massive because when you divide it by the number of states we have,
and
so you are
let's start from 777 local governments.
No, they have said it's at least one in each ward.
I'm dividing it.
At least one of these places.
I'm dividing it by states now. You are having nothing less than 277 per state.
Wow.
If you do it across 36 states of the federation.
That's
that's massive. If they go the work, they equip in terms of personnel and for other
contractors
facilities.
will be involved.
They should know that by now Nigeria is short of medical doctors of up to 250-something thousand.
Wow.
Of all the countries in the world, we are in a bad situation. The number of doctors in Nigeria.
Not that we don't have, but
the ratio
that we don't have. Even when you bring all the ones, when you bring all the ones you have abroad,
doctor-patient
ratio. So we have a lot of crisis in the health sector. You look at the residency training, programs and everything. The government needs to do a lot. Many of our doctors,
strikes.
Many of them cannot come in. There are not enough space, and some of them, after their pass through, they go abroad and
they keep Saudi Arabia is the destination.
So all these things they need to keep because
50 students to Ukraine for medical studies. You know, Kano State too has sent quite a number.
Several, because the health sector in Nigeria is like this because one, the primary health sector has collapsed. So you have people going to teaching hospital with headache.
I'm telling you, yes.
With malaria. These are not the job of teaching hospitals.
So that should be the apex.
If you take the burden off the teaching hospitals, believe me, they will be able to focus on their primary mandate, on the primary mandate.
Centers.
So this thing they've started, they should take it as a very, very important aspect of their activity.
Sambo is calling us from Taraba State. We seem to have attention from Taraba State today. Thank you for joining us, Sambo.
Good evening, guys. Good evening.
Good evening, Sambo.
Yeah, well, good evening. Yes. About the issue of the healthcare, what government is supposed to do really when you come to the local government, where is the grassroots? You see somebody is level 10, they are paying him level 03. The issue there is not building of the structure. When they consider the other issues, they consider the salaries and other skills, allowances of the staff, you make sure that you see that those people are working fine. But you are nursing superintendent level 14, level 12. They are paying you 21,000 or 18,000.
That's disheartening.
So people are leaving local government. Some prefer to open their own chemists than working in the government scheme because what they are paying you is not up to.
Okay.
You are there working, they are paying you what you cannot even pay rent with.
I think Sambo has raised a very important that apart from equipping the healthcare facilities, the people involved too.
Yes,
must be taken care of.
The quality of caregivers.
This is why, in thanking and in appreciating the federal government for this initiative, it's important that we underscore the need for remuneration, the need to see it as a holistic project. If they go ahead to implement at least one primary health care center in each of the wards across the federation, and they improve upon it, say maybe if on a yearly basis, maybe they add another 5,000 by next year, they add it in such a way that it will not only be seamless to manage, equipping it also, and providing the variables necessary to keep it useful will also not be an issue. Because like my colleague said, you find that there should be 3 tiers really: the primary healthcare facility, the secondary healthcare facility, and the tertiary healthcare facility. But exactly. In this wise, you find that the primary healthcare facility is the most crucial.
Accessible.
Because that is the place where people can, within a few minutes, get to. Close from your home, 3-4 minutes, you are in the PHC. And so therefore, the government must ensure that efforts are taken to put the right caliber, the right quality staff, and then to ensure that staff without equipment to work with is frustrating.
Then I want to add this. Most Nigerian doctors prefer to work in the cities. So when you are going to cite these health centers, you know that most of them will not be in the cities. So there should be a way of coming up with an incentive to make people to want to work in the rural areas. Nigerian doctors are mostly clustered in the cities, and that is part of the problem.
And I think in terms of remuneration, Jide, I think what the federal government is paying is different from what the state governments. I think it should be better.
That was the crux of the strike here in Lagos State at that time, when people were complaining that even Jigawa State, some of the states, the poor states of the north, even pay their doctors better than Fashola was paying here, and they went on strike. They were ignored for a long time until sanity prevailed, and they were called back. You see, people whose duty it is to save lives, I think they deserve to be very, very well motivated. Because if we do not do that, then they will not take their job seriously. They will not take their job seriously. So we must consciously take care of the welfare of caregivers, of doctors, and even nurses, so that these strikes that we hear about all the time will be a thing of the past.
All right. I want to thank you, ADEKUNLE YUSUF.
Thanks.
You've been part of today's show.
Nice.
Otuma,
my pleasure.
Thank you so much. And Babajide, as usual, thank you so much. And that's it on Journalist Hangout. Join us tomorrow for another episode of the program. Watch the repeat broadcast tonight at 11 p.m. Nigerian time. You can also watch Journalist Hangout on YouTube. That is youtube.com/TVC News Nigeria. Our feedback channel is Journalist Hangouts at tvcnews.tv. I'm Ayodele Osubaku. Bye for now, and God bless Nigeria.